I'm here with my question and answer video that I said I was going to post. I was gonna wait, but I feel very inspired by all this nature around me here. I'm in the middle of nature right now to start answering some of your questions. And I got a few very interesting questions, and I'm just feeling the flow to answer some of them. Like one question was about the construct of time, linear time, and past lives, and how that works. The thing with linear time is that it's a construct that was built by the creator angels, the Elohim. It's a construct that's necessary for us to have some kind of a framework to organize our experiences in. Because there can only be a learning experience in the third dimension if there is contrast. That means if you can place one event next to another in a framework of time to compare both events to then draw conclusions to learn from. And that is why we have several lifetimes in this 3D construct, and in each lifetime we have past, present, future, but that is just in those lifetimes in the third dimension. And so at the end of those lifetimes, we have come to new conclusions, we have come to new insights and understandings based on this third dimensional linear time that we would not have been able to do in any other way. And that is why it's not necessarily a bad thing to say, oh, the third dimension sucks, blah, blah, blah. No, the third dimension is a very powerful teacher, and if it wouldn't have been for the third dimension, we would have never come to the insights that we would have come to at this point right now, where we are ready for ascension into the fifth dimension. So people ask, when they sometimes ask me for a reading or a portrait, and a spirit guide steps forward, that is a star guide from another galaxy, star system. And at the same time, it's a past life version of themselves. And some people find that very hard to understand. They don't really understand how that works. So I'm gonna try to explain that, because that was one of my questions that came up from somebody. How does that work? It works because everything is basically happening in the now moment. And what is happening is that you are here as a star seed, so you come from another galaxy. Now, what happens with that other galaxy? You had that lifetime, but at the same time, you are also here, because there's only this now moment. And in linear time, we see that as a past life, but at the same time, it's also where we are headed. Because when we are through with the third dimension, when we have ascended into the fifth dimension, you will be ready to have higher level incarnations again, such as Pleiadian, Sirian, Orion, Arcturian incarnations again to your star system of origin. Once you are ready with third dimensional lessons and structures, you are ready to ascend into a higher plane of existence again and take on incarnations of a higher level again. But at the same time, you are basically incarnating as that's your future self, but at the same time, that is also your past self, because time doesn't exist. And that's also one thing that Matthias de Stefano, I don't know if you guys know him, he basically says that in his Gaia series initiation. Gaia, if you don't have a Gaia subscription, I highly recommend it, it's awesome. But that is something that resonated with my own intuitive downloads. That we are our own past lives in a way, because our future selves came here to create Earth, to seed the planet, and basically we can kind of be our own spirit guides, because time doesn't exist. time exists for us because we are living in this 3D matrix of linear time, where we are experiencing things through the structure of linear time, so that we can ascend into a fifth dimension where the linear time becomes very fluid. And in my energy update, I've also told you guys this, that some people are already experiencing this fluidity, and it's confusing for some people. So in my energy update, I also said it's important to ground. So that's what I'm doing. And that past lives, it's actually not really past lives. You should look at it as parallel lives. Because, like in my case, I have a guide that I have come into contact with that is a past life, but she's also guiding me. You can have contact with yourself from another lifetime, and you can basically go and give advice to that version of yourself. And that version of yourself can also give you advice in this lifetime. And that is what I do. So that is one of the main things that I do with the portraits that I make for people. These people, I basically give them a part of their soul back, a key to their soul. Because that's an aspect of you that's incarnated in another body, in another time, in reality somewhere in the universe. And if you look at it linear, like a linear time map, then it's going to say, oh, but that was in the past. But was it really in the past? Because if you are in that time, and you go back to that time in meditation, you can be in contact with that person. And if that person goes to the future in meditation, they can be in contact with you because you have the same soul. You're the same higher self. You are the same person. It's just another version of you. And when we transcend the physical, you can be in touch with all your parts, with everything that you are. And Dolores Cannon, that's one of my favorite authors, Dolores Cannon. She said it too. I don't know if you have read her books, the Nostradamus books. I forgot the title, the exact title, but she basically has a client. She's a hypnotherapist. She has a client that channels Nostradamus on her therapy sessions. In her therapy sessions, she starts to channel Nostradamus. And Nostradamus back in the 14 or 1500s was perfectly aware that he was communicating with somebody from the future. And Dolores, in her time, this book was, I think, written in the 80s or something. She was perfectly aware that she was conversing with Nostradamus in his time, in the late Middle Ages, early Renaissance, I can't exactly remember. They were having contact, conversations that transcended linear time. So if Nostradamus were to have written, if he would have written down all his experiences with Dolores Cannon, there would be books that you could find that say, oh, I had conversations with this lady in the year 1985 or something. He, in his time, had experiences with Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon, in her time, had experiences with Nostradamus in his time. So there is no such thing really as past lives. It's all parallel. It's all happening at the same time. It's all parallel lifetimes. So that's my answer to that first question. That was a really good question. And if this is complicated, if this is still, if your brain is exploding, let me know. But this is a very important one to integrate if we want to get into the fifth dimension. This is a very important one, because if you learn that all aspects of you are happening right now, that you can be your own spirit guide, that you can talk to yourself in different incarnations, that is a game changer. And you're going to be able to access all your past life gifts, access your Akashic records. And I have a little bit of that in my upcoming free course, Activate Your Telephone Line to Source. I have tiny bits and pieces in there, but I'm also going to be making a deep dive course where I dive into that stuff to activate all of your Akashic records, because that's what we're here to do. Bring all these gifts, all this knowledge back, and integrate it and use it in this lifetime. Is basically the combination of everything. that you have ever been. So parallel lifetimes. I'm getting out of breath because why am I walking so fast? I'm just gonna slow down a bit. So that's the first question. The second question I got was somebody saying that they were meditating and they had a really profound experience where they, like, basically this lifetime has not been an easy lifetime. It's been hard. There's been obstacles. The typical starseed lifetime where it hasn't been easy, like physical illnesses, ailments, because we're here bringing this high frequency into this dense body. And it's just not been a comfortable life, this person said. And in meditation, this person was shown this really beautiful experience, this very, very high frequency experience. And their spirit guides told them that the purpose was to show this person what they could really be in this lifetime, what they actually are, what their essence truly is, what they came here to do, who they really are, what they are representing here, what their essence is that they are shining out to the people that they meet. And I feel, she asked me, what's your take on this experience? Well, I said she, now you know it's a woman, but this happens to women, men. I've heard all kinds of stories like this. And yeah, I'm turning all the time. I'm walking my dog and he's pulling the leash. So yeah, this is happening to us. This kind of adds nicely, kind of goes perfectly with my first question that I answered. And it's that we are just integrating more and more. We are open to more and more higher frequencies from the sun over there. And we're just ready to embrace more and more of ourselves. We're going to be shown more pieces of who we really are. And also the contrast again from Source is showing us we can be everything. We can be darkness, we can be light. It's about embracing everything. It's not about putting yourself in a box. It's about you are everything and nothing at the same time. You're Source. You're here to just be Source embodied. And you are this bright light at the same time. You are always Source energy. You're always Source embodied. You're always light. No matter how down you feel, you may feel like you're not doing a good job as a light worker. You may feel like you're sick or you're struggling, you have emotional ups and downs, and that you're not good at this light worker business. You see all these people, posting a bunch of nice pictures and positive stuff, like you're not doing a good job. And we're all here as light, and we're all valuable, and we're all working hard at leveling up. We're all working hard at leveling up in our own way. So it's basically, if you're judging yourself, it's Source coming in to say, hey, what are you doing? I am you, you are me. This is you right there. This vision that I'm showing you now, this really beautiful ball of light, that's what you are. So that's to answer that question. If you've had similar experiences where you've had a really profound experience during meditation and you're wondering what that's about, it's to shake you up a little bit. It's to wake you up to who you really are. Because you're not given experiences that don't reflect back what you are in essence. You're always going to be presented with what you are. And you are a piece of God that's here on earth having this experience. So I hope that that answers that question for you. You know who you are, and also that answers your question, other people that are going through the same thing. Next question is from somebody on TikTok that asked me a question there. I'm surprised I even got people there to send me questions, because I'm not really active. I have a TikTok account, but basically just post little things here and there, but I'm not really interactive with people on there, but I got a question. So if this is you, that's your question. This person said, I had a dream where I saw two earths simultaneously, like kind of split. A split happening between two earths, and the one was translucent and kind of like a higher level. So what's that about? You're not the first person that has this experience. This experience is actually happening to many people and has been happening to many people for years. And it's even written in Dolores Cannon's books, but it's a perfect representation of the 5D and 3D split that we are in. So what's happening basically is a lot of people can feel that there are two timelines overlapping, two realities overlapping. And there is the third dimension, the reality that most people live in, the physical reality, the stuff that they see. They don't have any other experiences. They completely go outside of themselves for all information, for everything, for how to live their life, for just everything. That's the people that have given their power away completely, and they don't even realize that there was a power to give away, that they just think that's the way it is. You know what I mean, all the people that live their lives just on autopilot, going, that don't think that there's another option besides working a 9-to-5 job for an employer, that don't think that there's another option besides paying high bills every month, that don't think that there is another option than listening to the news and accepting what other people say about you, because how would you know who gives you authority? And that's the world that most people live in. And then there is the fifth dimension, of course, that most of the people that are watching this, of course, live in, or they're going back and forth. And if you're going back and forth, you can tell that you're living in two worlds at the same time. You can truly tell. The fifth dimension is people like me, people like you maybe, that get up in the morning and say, I feel like meditating right now. That's what I need to do. That don't watch the news anymore, that get their news from their higher self, that are aware of their star families, their spirit guides, their ancestors, their angels, trying to connect to them, that are actively seeking out this connection, that are actively accepting guidance from these connections. There's the people that have their dog, that can actively telepathically communicate with their pets and understand the emotions of their animals. This is fifth dimensional living. And yeah, so that's what's going on. And there's literally two realities, two types of people that are living here. And what that means is, for instance, somebody can live and get so carried away by the news and by the whole pandemic right now, the COVID pandemic, and be completely absorbed by it, and it can rule their entire reality. That's a really good example, COVID. You can go through this pandemic that's been going on for over a year now and be greatly affected by it, and your whole life will be completely different. You will feel like you've had to adjust so many things in your life because you are so, like, how do you say that? Invested. You are so invested energetically into this reality that is the COVID virus, COVID-19. It's 21 already. We're 2021 and it's called 19. You know how long this has been going on? It started in 2 years ago. So yeah, some people are just really invested into all the stuff that's happening, all the things that people are saying, all the news, all the stuff. And then there's people that say, no, that's not what I choose. I'm not going to listen to the news. I'm just not taking any part of it. And for me personally, not a lot has changed, because my life was already detached from a lot of the third dimensional constructs of reality. My life was already greatly shifting to a fifth dimensional state of living where I chose what I did with my time. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be fully self-employed or not have anything to do anymore with the systems in place, because I still work a part-time job 14 hours a week. I don't know if you guys know that. I work a part-time job 14 hours a week, but I love my job because I am all alone and I get to have earbuds in for 4 hours, 3 days a week. And I just get to listen to audiobooks, I get to listen to YouTube, I get to listen to affirmations. And the truth is 5D living is you do what makes you happy. And if you do the job for an employer and it makes you truly heart-based happy and it gives you energy and it charges you up and balances you, then that is great. But if you go to work every day and you hate your job, then that is not in alignment with a fifth dimensional way of living. Then you are still stuck with one foot in the third dimensional earth. I'm getting sidetracked, I feel. So what was the question again? Yeah, the two earths. So that's basically what these people are seeing. They're seeing this split, this 3D and 5D split. Now, my goal is ultimately to stop working my part-time job, but I'm not really focused on, there's a bunch of mud, I have to get my way over here. Okay, I did it. So yeah, I don't have a set time on when this has to happen. I'm not in stress about it because the job that I'm doing is fulfilling and I like it and I get stuff out of it. I get energy out of it. I'm not just giving my energy and not getting anything in return. That's what it's about. So that's what we are all striving towards with this fifth dimensional earth. So that's what I wanted to say about that dream. On to the next question. Okay, a question that came in was, how can you find out what star system you are originally from if you are a star seed? Again, you can read all the articles out there. You can watch all the videos on YouTube. You can go over all the checklists that everybody puts out there and like that are saying, oh, Pleiadians are like this, Sirians are like this, Andromedans are like this, Arcturians are like this, blah, 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 blah. And that's again giving your power away. That's not going to help you. You can read over these things and you can get stuff out of there that resonates. But if something doesn't resonate and your inner being is telling you that you are Pleiadian or that you are Sirian, and this checklist is saying something else, then go with what your inner being is saying. Because usually you will be guided to all the information that you need. The universe is very good at giving you keys at the right time. When you need to unlock a certain aspect of yourself, like your star family, your original heritage, your cosmic heritage, the universe is very good at giving you the right information at the right time, as long as you approach it from a heart-centered space. And if you tune in and see what resonates and what doesn't, that's going to provide you with the answers. And you're going to find people, usually this is what happens. You're going to be led to people that are going to be a similar frequency to your own home frequency. Like in my case, when I do readings for people or portraits for people, a lot of them have Pleiadian star heritage, have Sirian star heritage. These are my two main star systems, Sirius and the Pleiades. So I get a lot of people that have that similar frequency, and Lemurian and Atlantean frequencies. I have a lot of those people, and they find their way to me. It's because you feel on a soul level that there's a connection. There's something familiar about these people. And you can always find a skilled Akashic Records reader, somebody that reads starseed origins, starseed heritage stuff. You can always find somebody like that. But then again, when you get the information from them, read it, let it integrate, let it sink in. And if it feels right to you, if it makes you emotional, if there's an emotional reaction, then you know it's your inner being magnetizing towards the information that you've received and saying, yes, I recognize this. If it doesn't resonate, if it does the opposite, if you are like a magnet that's being repelled, then that was probably a lesson that you should trust your inner being, because it's not always because you get a reading from somebody that's the ultimate truth. It's only the ultimate truth if it becomes your truth, if it resonates with your heart. So I'm just going to show you guys this beautiful water. I'm just saying, you have all the answers. But I know when this question came, people want to have a real answer, like, yeah, but I want to know for sure, where do I come from? The thing is, you've been all over the place. You're not just a Pleiadian starseed, you're not just a Sirian starseed, you're not just an Orion starseed. The truth is, we are so ancient and old, we've been all over the place. But there's gonna be one or two frequencies that are gonna be prominent, that are gonna be more pronounced in your energy signature than others. And that's also what you came here to spread. Probably those frequencies, the wisdom from those places. But yeah, the thing is, you're everything. You've been at so many places. If you are here on Earth right now, it's because you are a galactic traveler and you've truly been at so many different places. So yeah, how can you find out? The thing is, it'll reveal itself. It'll all reveal itself when the time is right, whether it's through people you meet that give you readings. And I'm saying this as an Akashic Records reader, that you always have to trust yourself. You can get a reading from me, you can get a reading from somebody else, but that doesn't mean that what I'm saying is necessarily more valid than what you feel in your heart. It means that I'm reading your energy, your Akashic Records, and I'm mirroring back the stuff that I'm receiving from your energy. And then it's up to you to discern whether you resonate with it or not. I'm never going to say that I am right and that what you are feeling is not right, because that's ridiculous. It's your energy. I'm connecting with you. And if there's one person that is the most connected to your energy, then it's you. You are going to know yourself better than anybody knows you. So I think that's kind of the answer to that question. Okay, one last question was from somebody with kids that said, I don't understand how you're able to do all the stuff that you do, and you have 2 kids. How do you find the time? And my answer is, I just do what I do when they're around anyway. There's a reason why you became a parent and why you are on a spiritual journey. It's not one thing or the other. Combine it. Show your children who you are. And you just have to be who you are. Even when you're a parent, you don't have to meditate when they're not around. You don't have to do your spiritual work when they're not around, or get frustrated. Wait. My dog is pulling this leash like crazy. Oh my God. Anyway, you just do what you do. Half of the meditations that I do are with this kid on my lap. And I have people tell me, but I have a baby, I don't have time to meditate. When they sleep, when they nap, just lay down with them and meditate. Go lay next to them and meditate. And then they're like, yeah, but I don't have time, I have laundry to do, I have this to do, I have that to do. And I know that stuff is there. But prioritize yourself. When you're a parent and you're on a spiritual journey, it is so important to prioritize yourself in an energetic way. Find the time to meditate. Find the time to spend time in nature. Like now, he's napping. He's getting his nap in. I'm walking my dog, so my dog gets walked, and I'm grounding. I'm grounding right now in this weather. It's nice right now. And I'm recording a video for you guys. Find ways to make it work. And ask your spirit guides for help. Call in Archangel Gabriel, who is perfect at being the messenger. He's perfect with children. Archangel Metatron from the Central Sun is the lightworker angel who oversees all light workers and New Earth children. Call him in for assistance. So, yeah. And teach your kids about what you're doing. Teach them. So it doesn't have to be one thing or another. It's not some kind of hobby that you turn off and on. This is your life. You are ascending. This is what's going on. Your children chose you as their parent for a reason, because you're on this journey. And it's going to benefit you, and it's going to benefit them if you just include them in what you're doing. Teach them. Teach them what you're doing. And look at it as this project that you're doing together. This beautiful ascension project that you're doing with your kids. So I hope that helps in some way. Those were all the questions for now, but I will definitely be back with another one of these Q&A videos. If you have questions, keep sending them, and I'll make another video again soon. Bye! Okay, I'm back with another little chapter for my Q&A because I had already filmed everything yesterday, and then I still got a few more questions that were really interesting that I wanted to put in this video. I'm gonna read the question, and it was about Lemuria and Atlantis, and the question is, I would love to know some more about the previous civilizations chronologically, Lemuria and Atlantis. First time I heard somebody mention Atlantis in the context of advanced civilizations that used crystals was more than 20 years ago. He also said that there were 4 worlds or civilizations before us, which I'm not sure I understood correctly. I don't know if it's 4 specifically. I do know that Lemuria is the very first civilization of Earth humans that had a higher consciousness. So what do I mean by that? I mean souls incarnating here on Earth that were meant to, well, it's basically Project Earth. That's kind of what came up too in my own past life regression. It's called Project Earth. It's just a name, of course, but that's what it means. It means Lemuria was founded by different ET races that found that Earth was ready for advanced human life. The first humans that were really ready to start taking on lessons, to start participating in the universal law of contrast, of learning and advancing, and the ascension game, basically. Because there were civilizations before Lemuria that were already on Earth, but they were all ETs. So what I mean by that is that they were not native to Earth. They were not humans that originated on planet Earth, and the Lemurians were the very first race of people that originated on planet Earth. They were kind of created and like perfected by alien races that contributed both energetically and physically to this race to then establish the Lemurian race. But they were the very first to really be of Earth, the Lemurians. Before that, there were several colonies, alien colonies, so to speak, There were Syrian, Pleiadian, Lyran, Orion, Arcturian colonies all over Earth, because Earth was known as a very beautiful Garden of Eden type of place. And it was kind of because we had such a diversity of nature, and there were not really any humans here that were advanced enough to really partake in the whole galactic game. So basically, they created a race for this planet, and it's very complicated, the whys and like why that the or the meaning of that, and why they decided to do that. But basically, the Lemurians were the first people of Earth to live on Earth. Before that, I know that you'll probably know Hyperborea. Hyperborea is apparently one of these races that was here a very long time ago, and that was during an ice age before the Lemurians were ever here. There was a very big ice age, and the Hyperboreans were giants, and they were extraterrestrial beings, but they came here, and the Atlantean name for these Hyperboreans was the Nemnir. And I don't know if you have a Gaia subscription or if you know of Gaia TV. There's a guy there called Matthias De Stefano, and he has a show there called Initiation, and he has all kinds of past life memories, and he knows, he also talks about this group of people, the Nimnir, the Hyperboreans, and their giants. And they were here before anyone else was ever here. And they basically recorded the history of the planet in the ice. And now that the is starting to melt, the ice caps are starting to melt. What is happening? And this is just channeled information that I've received and that later was confirmed by watching that show. Now that the ice caps are melting, all this information is being released into the water. And what is happening is that it's circulating. It's circulating now around the world. So we are waking up to all this knowledge, all this Akashic collective knowledge that has been recorded into the ice by these Hyperboreans. Um, you can definitely go look up some more information about Hyperborea, but those were one of the ancient giants. And I know that there's talk about the Anunnaki giants, the bad ones basically, that came later, but those are not the same as the Hyperboreans, the Nemnir race that came from another place. All the like the Nord, like the Scandinavian myths of Thor and Odin, they are based on these gods, basically. These Nemnir people. That's what. That's kind of how all of that started. So there's those people, and there's the whole story of the Bible of Adam and Eve, the Old Testament, and the snake. And we also know how patriarchy turned the snake into something evil. There was a race of reptilians, but those are not the evil reptilians, the draconians, the negative ones. I'm talking about way before. There was a race of benevolent reptilians that came here to teach the wisdom of the universe to the women of Earth. So they were here as extraterrestrials, but they were teaching the women of all the tribes how to work with the divine feminine energy, and that is why the snake is actually a representation of the divine feminine, and that's why the Old Testament changed it to something evil, and Adam and Eve were cast out of the Garden of Eden for basically interacting with the divine feminine. And yeah, so those people, those extraterrestrials were here too, but those are not the same as the draconians. So if you want to get into all that stuff, so there's basically those reptilians that I haven't really gone into that, like I haven't really delved into the Akashic records of that, so that's just something that I have heard too. But that part of Hyperborea definitely resonates with my own memories and Lemuria and Atlantis. So basically, now let's get to Lemuria and Atlantis. What those were the polar opposites. They are the contrast that was needed on the planet at the time, for these two civilizations needed to live side by side, because that was what Earth was going through. We were entering this phase of duality, Lemuria being extremely matriarchal, a matriarchal society that lived very close to the land, that lived very back to basics. They were not technologically advanced, but they were extremely spiritually advanced, that they could manifest whatever they wanted just by intention. They could levitate, they would communicate telepathically, all of that stuff. They could manipulate water, they could manipulate crystals. I've seen it in my own past life memories, that they could do stuff like that. And then there is Atlantis, which was also extremely advanced, but they were also technologically very advanced. So what happened is that in the beginning, both of these societies were initially very peaceful, and they had very good intentions. But then what started to happen is that there was conflict that started to arise as more of these people started going out of their societies to travel, and they would like visit each other's societies, and then they would see how different they were, and because of these differences they started to there were conflicts. And then eventually Lemuria fell. What happened with Lemuria is that part of the Lemurians decided to enter the karmic cycle of Earth, and Lemuria was a fifth dimensional society. They were living in 5D. What happened is that Earth collectively decided to go through a descension cycle, so the opposite of what we are doing right now. So what we are doing right now is we're in an ascension cycle, and that's just because we needed to have that contrast to learn from this, basically this descension cycle. So what happened, part of the Lemurians um, decided to enter this cycle and to reincarnate, and a lot of them reincarnated in Atlantis, and some of them went to the Agartha network, the Inner Earth network, and that's where you have the stories of Telos and Adama, and the people of Inner Earth, the Lemurians that are still there, the original Lemurians from back then. They are still there because they don't age. They can maintain their age. They can manipulate cells of their body in a way that they can just stay unchanged. So they're still there. They're still present. And then the other half decided to enter the reincarnation cycle, and they were born again in Atlantis. And that's why a lot of this crystal healing, a lot of this water and crystal knowledge that the Lemurians had re-emerged in Atlantis, but it was combined with the advanced technology of the Atlanteans. So you had everything. Atlantis was basically the perfect um, civilization for a very long time. It was perfect in every way, but then they started to want more. They started to get kind of corrupt, and then actually what happened, before history repeated itself, that the feminine and the masculine aspect, the Lemurian and the Atlantean aspect that was once separated, that was in conflict, that again re-emerged and got into conflict again. But the thing was, this time it was happening in one place. It was happening in Atlantis, and the conflict arose, like started arising again, and you would have these very um, feminine, divine feminine, intuitive healers, priests and priestesses of Atlantis that were being put against these very technologically advanced, masculine, but kind of toxic masculine priests and scientists in Atlantis. And eventually that contributed to the fall of Atlantis. because Gaia, of course, there's different theories of the fall of Atlantis, but I do believe that it's a combination of some kind of cataclysmic event plus the consciousness that was just diving, and the world responding to it. Gaia just responding to this lower consciousness, and all kinds of stuff combined just caused the fall of Atlantis. And then again, what happened? The same thing all over again. The souls that fell decided to reincarnate, and a lot of them were able to flee Atlantis, and some of them settled in ancient Greece, a lot of them settled in Egypt, and that's where you have the flourishing of the ancient Egyptian civilization, which was basically just an offshoot of Atlantis. It was just a colony. That's where you get the pyramids of Egypt. That's where you get the South American pyramids. There's pyramids in Bosnia, in Europe. There's pyramids in China. Those are all basically little offshoots of Atlantis. After the fall of Atlantis, they settled there to continue with the Atlantean wisdom. There's also the Essenes, the group of the Essenes in Israel, and those were also Atlanteans that took their Atlantean wisdom and they settled in Israel. And Jesus Christ, Yeshua, was one of the Essenes. He was schooled by the Essenes. And so he was really metaphysical. He knew all about crystal healing, levitating, everything. He was taught, basically, he was taught Atlantean knowledge. And that's what he was trying to pass on. Let me see, let me get back to this question because I feel like I'm getting sidetracked. I think that's kind of it, but what's happening now is that all of these souls are coming back. So if you're asking, like the person that asked me this question, I know for sure, you were in Lemuria and you were in Atlantis, because I can tell by the stuff that you post that that is a frequency that you are bringing back. And a lot of us are bringing back those frequencies, but right now we are in this ascension cycle, and back then we were in a descension cycle. So what we're doing now is, instead of the separation and the polarization, we are bringing it all together. We are combining it. We are merging it all together. And so that's truly the goal of everyone remembering these civilizations again, Atlantis, Lemuria, is to bring it back together, is to find the balance between the masculine, the balance between the feminine, the balance between technology, the balance between intuition. So that's what we are here to do, to live in a technologically advanced civilization. But you can only be technologically advanced and be successful and balanced if you are spiritually equally advanced. Because if your technological level is way up here and spiritually you are way here, you're going to end up self-destructing. And if you are spiritually up here but technologically not there, then that's not going to be balanced either, because that is what basically caused Lemuria to fall too. There has to be an equal balance, and then you can thrive as a society. So that is what we're here to do. And I'm getting way off topic, but that is also how the Pleiadians work, how the Pleiadian society is built. It is very spiritually in tune, but I've seen images, past life images, and journeys where I've seen that they are very technologically advanced, but it's all like empathic. It's all empathic technology. And if you're not aware that everything is connected, that technology and intuition can perfectly coexist, then you're going to end up with an imbalance in the way you live your life. So I hope that that answers your question a bit about Lemuria and Atlantis. And yeah, that's it. If you guys have any more questions, you can message me and I will do another Q&A video. Bye.